Welcome back, folks, for another episode on what's coming next for World of Tanks. Now, before we start, Lawler811 took up a good point of saying all my stuff might be bullshit.
Don't bullshit me.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit. You said so. It's all bullshit.
So, yeah, the mind doesn't wrap around the fact that the KV-2's 152mm could be strapped to a small light tank not barely bigger than a Chafee. So that is not as plausible as you might think. So it might be bullshit. So also, when I was looking through the new T-54 OBL, the light tank version of the T-54, I was also saying to myself, this is kind of bullshit. This is not a light tank. Light tanks does not have slope 80mm of frontal armor or 160mm of turret armor. That is bullshit. So yeah, the bullshit meter goes a bit high. So I was wondering the same fact and if my sources were correct or whatnot. So while I was doing these fact checking and whatnot, I was looking through my comment section, and there was this guy called the Mytholian or Mytholian, whatever, crazy names, you know, from wargaming, as he claims. So basically he says, "Hi Sam, good T49 review, blah blah blah, thank you, work for community, Polish ambassador, blah blah blah." So you might think this might be a made up guy, so this might be a random guy posing as a wargaming moderator or staff or whatever. So I went Google searching, obviously, and I found from this EU forum, okay, so basically he was a moderator on, or he is a moderator on this forum. So alright, he's okay. He's also a moderator that does promotional stuff for wargaming during Gamescom. So, okay, so he seems pretty legit. So, notice me, senpai. Yes, but I still doesn't confirm the fact that what my stuff is bullshit. So just saying that the wargaming staff or whatever the moderator this guy is, he just approves of my bullshitting, if it is bullshitting. So I don't know what's going on. So basically, I also have a few pictures to, I guess, fact check my bullshitting, if you will. So basically, here is the original picture I used for the M41 Bulldog. Now, you already know these stats and whatnot, but here comes a new picture to fact check or confirm my bullshitting, I guess. So here is an in-game screenshot of the M41 Bulldog. Now ignore the grain texture mesh thing because they do it differently for the mesh before they put out the HD models. Oh, by the way, all new light tanks will receive HD models. So, all right. So that's side note. Okay, fuck that. All right. So basically, the facts is pretty much matched up with the stats on the bullshit meter that I put. So basically, you see the tons are pretty much the same. Yep, 23.5-ish tons. That's right. Health is pretty much the same. 910. 400-meter view range. Yep. 745-meter view range or radio range. Yep, that's pretty correct. 25.4 armor. 25. All right. Same. All right. Engine is 550 horsepower. All right, that's good. That's good. Power to weight ratio. I don't think this one shows you that. So I don't think the original page shows you that. Nope, it doesn't. All right. 72.4 kilometers top speed. Yep. They don't show you reverse speed, so I cannot check that. Hull traverse is 56 degrees per second. 56. All right. Yep. So, all right. 52 degrees turret traverse against 51 or 50. So this might be a little bit off, but all right. It's just a test. I mean, they're still messing around with the stats. 76mm gun. Yep. 175 penetration. Yep. 150 damage. Yep. 0.36 accuracy. Now, there's a difference between 0.36 accuracy and 1.8 second aim time between these two stats. Now, what I figured against the rate of fire, which is also different, at 17.87 instead of 17.14, is that my stats are from 100% crew. That means they will operate this gun faster than the normal 50% stats on this gun. So basically, this is only a 50% crew training, whereas this is from 100% crew training. So the difference is negligible, as you can understand. So, and the T-49 is confirmed, obviously. The T-37 is also confirmed. So, and the tiers are also confirmed. So, am I bullshitting you? Am I bullshitting myself? I don't even know. So, guess we will find out soon when the 9.3 patch came out. So don't take everything I say to heart, but most of the stuff I say, I did fact checking, so I'm not trying to bullshit you. If I was trying to bullshit you, I already bullshitted myself. So we're both in this together. So we might both be bullshitted on, but hell, I'm just reporting it. But other than that, let's start with the T-54 Light. So with the 9.3 patch, the Russians will receive 2 new light tanks starting at Tier 7 with the LTTB and the Tier 8 T-54 Light, coming right after the MT-25. So basically these 2 light tanks will perform a bit like medium tanks in my opinion. Now this video is about the T-54 Light version instead of the old T-54 at Tier 9. So the main reason behind the development of the T-54 Light was because the Russians wanted a light version of the T-54 that can go through difficult terrains and rough areas such as mountains, swamps, deserts, or even snow-covered areas with better traction than the normal T-54. Now the armor value still can hold up against small caliber anti-tank guns, but weren't good enough against heavier caliber guns such as 100mm or above. So what that means is, they reduced the weight of the tank by reducing the armor from the hull as well as the turret and increased the size of the tracks. Now the tracks got increased return roller wheels. So this is the return rollers. This is from the old heavier version and this is from the light version. So as you can see, the light version has a wider return rollers. So the return rollers are the things that carry the tracks. Since the tracks got bigger, these things got bigger as well. Oh, okay. Road wheels were also reduced in size by 20mm in diameter. The torsion bars were also reduced in diameter in order to reduce the weight of the tank. So basically this tank is a light version of the T-54 in order to go to hard terrains. So it is like the same concept between the KV-1S and the KV-1. So here we have the in-game models for the T-54 Light. As you can see, it looks pretty much the same as the T-54. The only difference I can think of that they're gonna model is probably the size of the tracks. The T-54 Light's tracks are wider than the old T-54, but other than that, I don't know how you're gonna model the difference between these two tanks. Like different machine guns on the commander hatches, I don't even know, but other than that, these two tanks looks pretty much the same. Now with the collision model on the T-54 Light, you can see the frontal hull armor is only 80mm, the turret armor is only 160-ish millimeters, whereas in the real game, on the real T-54, the frontal plate is 120mm and the turret is 200mm. So that's the main difference between these two tanks, is that the armor values between these two tanks are much more reduced. So that's the main difference. Now let's look at the main stats of this tank. As you can see, this tank only weighs 30.6 tons, meaning that you should not ram anything else other than Tier 8 or below light tanks. Now 30.6 tons is not that featherweight, it is still pretty decent in weight. So you can still ram light tank or somewhat light tanks, such as the Waffenträger Panzer IV or the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger. So alright, you still can ram a few things, but don't ram all the time obviously. 1200 hit points, which is pretty nice. You can take a few hits. You do not die from one hit from the Jagdpanzer E100, so that's pretty nice. However, if you do get hit by the FV 215B 1A3, he might be using Hesh shells, and Hesh does 1700 damage, so that's broken. So you obviously die from those tanks, but be careful obviously. 390 meters of view range, which is pretty nice. 800 meters of radio range, which is very unexpected of Russians, so that's very good radio. Hull armor is also very unexpected. 80mm at the front, 60 at the sides, probably 45 at the rear. Turret armor is 160 millimeters at the front, 120 at the sides, probably 60 at the rear. So this thing is a medium tank. If you don't tell me anything else, this thing is a medium tank. It has the armor of a medium tank, so that's pretty crazy. It has 700 horsepower engine, which is very nice, which is the same top engine on the original T-54, so that's alright. Has 22.8 power to weight ratio, which is very good. Maximum speed is only 58.7, so you will be left in the dust in comparison to other Tier 8 light tanks. So this tank is kind of slow, obviously, but it has armor, so that's the trade-off. It does go 20 kilometers in reverse, so that's pretty decent. That's the same as all light tanks, obviously. 55 degrees of per second hull traverse, which is pretty good-ish, so it's not bad. Ground resistance is okay. It's decent for a light tank. 0.67 for hard terrain, 0.86 for medium, and 1.34 for soft terrain. Now I know medium tanks at this tier, at tier 8, has a worse ground resistance. So you can see here on the T-44, the tier 8 Russian medium tank. This tank has worse terrain resistance, meaning that the T-54 Light still can outmaneuver medium tanks at tier 8, obviously. Now the gun is 100mm from the original T-54. It does get less penetration than the T-54's original gun. The original gun on the T-54 has about 200mm penetration, whereas this gun only does 175mm. It also does about 70 less damage than the 100mm on the T-54. So it's alright-ish. DPM wise is about 2000, which is okay. It reloads every 7.7 seconds, so alright. Rate of fire is 7.8 rounds per minute, alright. 0.36 accuracy, which is decent, and 2.2 second aim time, which is decent-ish, so it's alright. Gun depression is -5 degrees, which is the same on the T-54, and turret traverse is 50 degrees per second. So it's a light version of the T-54. It seems like a medium tank, in my opinion. It has armor, so it feels like a medium tank. So originally, the T-54 Light was planned as a Tier 8 premium medium tank for the Russians, but somehow they changed that into a Tier 8 normal light tank, and I'm still wondering to myself, is this a light tank? It couldn't possibly be a light tank because of the armor. Now if you look at this picture, the LTTB is categorized as a light tank. Same with the T-54 Light, the OBL. This is a light tank, so it's a light tank for some reason. It has armor for a light tank. That is pretty crazy. Now they do have stats for this tank as a premium tier 8 medium, but they changed the stats obviously. So here's the change. They changed the ground resistance from the T-54 Light when it was a tier 8 premium tank into a tier 8 light tank now. So they did buff the ground resistance. They buffed the engine from a 520 horsepower to 700 horsepower engine, but the top speed is still the same. They buffed the hull traverse from 44 degrees per second to 50, buffed the view range from 385 to 390, and reduced the hit points from 1300 to 1200. So that's pretty nice. And here's the main difference between the current T-54 and the T-54 Light version. So the frontal armor was reduced by 40-ish millimeters, so the effective armor is also reduced, obviously. So 240 millimeters of effective armor to 160 millimeters. Lower frontal plate is decreased by 40 millimeters, so effective armor is also decreased. Side armor on the side of the hull is reduced by 20 millimeters. Upper rear armor is reduced by 25 millimeters, and lower rear armor is reduced to 15 millimeters from 30 millimeters. Frontal hull roof, so that's on the top of the roof, is from 30 millimeters to 20 millimeters, and rear roof on the back end of the engine deck, I guess, is reduced from 20 millimeters to 15 millimeters. The turret at the front reduced from 200 millimeters to 180 millimeters. The turret sides reduced from 160 millimeters to 120 millimeters. The turret roof reduced by 10 millimeters, and the turret rear reduced by 5 millimeters. So this tank has less armor than the normal T-54. So I'm still not convinced that the T-54 Light is actually a light tank. It feels like a medium tank to me. So I pulled up the T-44 Tier 8 Russian medium tank in comparison. So as you can see, the frontal hull armor is effectively the same millimeters of 160-ish millimeters. The turret armor is actually better than the T-44. What? The side of the turret is 20 more millimeters than the T-44. The side of the hull, worse, has 75 millimeters for the hull, whereas this tank has only 60. So alright, yeah, I'll give it that. The ass armor, the rear armor, is the same, and the turret at the rear is better than the turret at the rear for the T-54 Light. So, but this thing feels like a freaking medium tank than a light tank. Let's look at the guns, obviously. So, with the best gun on this T-44, we can see the DPM is about the same. Same penetration, same damage. Same DPM, same rate of fire. Holy shit. Is this a light tank or a medium tank? I don't know yet. Aim time is the same. It has better accuracy on the T-44, obviously. But, alright, let's look at the mobility. It has 20 more horsepower than the T-44. It has better power to weight ratio, obviously. Same hull traverse speed. Alright, better ground resistance. Way better ground resistance. And the rest is pretty much the same. Better top speed. So, this thing is a freaking medium. I'm confused. This thing is actually better than the T-44. And since this is categorized as a light tank, it gets to keep the camo rating bonus or the original camo rating values while moving, whereas the T-44 does not. So this thing is even sneakier than the T-44. I'm confused. This is a light tank. This is not a light tank, or this is not a light tank. This is a medium tank. It plays like a freaking powered up medium tank. That is crazy. So in my honest opinion, this feels a lot like a medium tank instead of a light tank. So you can perform stuff like flanking or wolf packing with other mediums, whereas you cannot do that with other light tanks. So you have the armor to help you out. But this also gets the light tank's bonus while moving. So all light tanks move with their camo rating at 100%. So this tank gets that camo rating bonus while moving, whereas medium tanks only gets like 50% camo rating bonus. So that's pretty crazy for a tank that has armor and can move with full camo rating. That's pretty nuts. In comparison between this tank and the Chinese WZ-132, the WZ-132 has no armor. It has only 30 millimeters at the front, I think, and 45 at the turret, whereas this thing has like 4 times of that amount. That's crazy for a light tank. So this tank might be the best scout killing light tank, whereas the other tier 8 light tanks will have a hard time penetrating you from the front because of your armor, and you can easily penetrate them with your gun as well. So this might be the best scout killer at tier 8. So that's pretty nuts. But in that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and feel free to rate this video and comment below on this crazy new hybrid of a light / medium tank. I do have more info regarding to the LTTB coming up soon, but I just have to look up more stats for those tanks and get more pictures. But if you like what you saw, subscribe to my channel for more information about these tanks when I put them into a video and find more pictures. But I also do tank reviews as well as my tips on events such as Hot September when it comes out. But in that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.